Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. We are here with Boba and working on some MSQ. I don't know why. Hold on, there we go. I figured out what the problem was, why my V2 model randomly decides she wants to start floating. It's because for some reason, sometimes with my window, it decides not to full screen properly. Like she cuts off at the bottom weirdly. So fixed her to be full screen on my screen there. Um, so, oh, I am going to fix a setting real quick because on stream I decided to force HDR for the game and it looks way oversaturated for you guys. I don't like how that looks. So let me fix some settings there because that's just no. Oh, hey, we don't need to see my VTube settings over there to the side. That's just weird. Okay. Oh, it still looks very saturated, but I've removed as much saturation as I possibly can without removing the HDR. I'll have to mess with some color settings to really make everything look as amazing and as good as I possibly can for you all. So we are back with Boba again today. We've been spending a lot of time with Boba here lately, so I might not spend the entire time with Boba today. But I definitely want to get her past Titan. I am over the Titan quest line. I want to get past him and move on with our lives because she's ready to take out some kneecaps here. Okay. So we need to deal with the Lord of Crags and take him out. Ishtola's got everything ready for us. We are ready to go in. We've done all the fetch quests, all that stuff. We've done all the pain and grunt work that we needed to do in order to face off with him. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and join the queue for this because I don't expect it to be an Instapop because we are on a Wednesday afternoon, even though I am queuing in as healer. So I don't expect it to be slow. I just didn't expect it to be an Instapop. For anybody that is progressing through MSQ, this trial is a rite of passage. It used to be even more of a rite of passage than it used to be. Because you can fall off of the platform, okay? Not only can you fall off of this platform, but before they reworked things, they made it so, I'm going to just automatically click through this. You weren't able to res in the past if you fell off of the platform. If you died to other things, that was one thing. But if you fell off of the platform, you were done. Okay, I'm just... I'm not reading through the dialogue because I don't want to take too much of my party's time. But basically, they're scared. We have trespassed on their territory, and they are like, we are bringing forth Titan. Here is the Lord of Crags. Here he is. Overdweller, art thou deaf to their weeping? Thy vile covet, ever blessing and land, murdereth children by the score, all in good greed. Sins are punishable. But I am not the first to suffer thy defiance. Thou didst bring Ifrit low. So he's already aware of me, that I am godless. He's not going to be able to temper me because I already took care of Ifrit. He's already familiar with this. So this is not new information to... I definitely need to get a portrait going for Boba here. Let's see. Where is... Okay, it's Control 8. There we go. There's my AoE heal. Oh no, oh no, oh. Whew. I thought, so Like I said, this is a rite of passage fight. That red broke off. So what ends up happening is if you're standing in the red, you fall off. If you're standing here, he does a whole bunch of damage. And if I recall correctly, I know that there's a landslide version where he actually knocks you off. Oh no. Oh, okay, he's going for the red mage. And we definitely want to get rid of Titan's heart. He's untargetable at the moment, but I can't heal everybody. Don't want to be standing in those that, yes, because that is going to be doing a massive amount of damage. So we've got different looking things that are happening with this fight. Again, rite of passage fight. Like, typically we see a lot of different things happening. I was gonna say, Titan really does not like this red mage. He just keeps wanting to put her in a rock. And I am remember correctly, like that landslide, because I remember I did the extreme try a whole bunch. Lord of Crags, great Father Titan has fallen. You want to be careful with where you stand. You don't want, because he's going to target a random player with that landslide. And if they come out of the rocks and don't have time to move, they're going to get pushed off the ledge. Again, rite of passage. Like so many times I came out of the giant boulder rock pile and got pushed off of the edge. So that's why I was being extra careful when I saw that red mage was captured. I was like, I want to stand to the side and kind of ensure that I'm not standing between that boulder and Titan, because if Titan were to do a landslide right there, then right as we were getting everything cleared out and off of them, they would have fallen off. The crimes of the overdwellers shall never be forgiven, never be forgotten. No, no, never. 'Twas your kin who broke the covenant. We have acted only in defense of our lands. Cease your aggression, or never will there be peace. Until our dying breaths, we shall defy you. Defy, decry, defy, or deny, decry, defy. Also, do keep in mind, so I know a lot of people call red mage a res mage. Please keep in mind that in instances like this one is a level 6 or 36 sync down. Red mage does not have the ability to res until level 64. So the red mage, if I had died, we had no resers. So do not put that pressure on red mages because they cannot res for a little while. Now these are readings one would expect of an icon. I've seen enough. We proceed as planned. Are you sure that is wise, my lord? Your curiosity is untested and unproven. We do not know yet its true capabilities. Then trusted mine, Frida 10, my curiosity, as you so eloquently put it, would be best, or would have bested Titan in the blink of an eye. Cocky, isn't he? Why? If there be truth to the legends, it could readily subjugate the whole of Eorzea, given but a little while longer. Is that not so? It is. No greater single power has ever been conceived, much less realized. What you say may be true, or may well be true. But while such devices may win battles, I do not believe they will serve to change the course of this war. Oh, but they will. Have a little faith, my friend. I cannot endorse this course of action. so many of my tank friends are waiting for the days that we get dual shield tanks, and with the most recent Fan Fest and the shirt and everything like that, seeing that armor with the dual shield kind of perspective makes me wonder if they are going to get their wish and have a dual shield tank. So Lala is like, fool. And now she has a fourth. Fascinating. Ooh, acids and bases. Have fun with that. I totally enjoy teaching that. Carry on, Crystal Bear. Far though you have come, your work is far from done. Y'shtola is trying to spy on him. And not remain to mask his passing. Well, the Ascians are nothing if not elusive. It is of little wonder that they should cast advanced teleportation magics at will. But that they would choose to consort with the Empire. I know that everything is like super extra red on the screen at the moment, but I absolutely love how much her eyes pop with having the Forced HDR and OBS there. Oh, I absolutely love the physics and chemistry stuff. Like, oh, I love that stuff. I also love like biology. Like if I weren't teaching, or if I didn't do math for my teaching stuff, then I probably would have done science. Like science would have been my next pick. English, language, all of that stuff, not so much my thing. I'm terrible with it. I can't really explain why. It's not that it's not interesting. I'm just terrible with it. History, I'm awful with it. I don't do memorization of things that happened. I can't do it. I can't do it. But I absolutely loved all of my science stuff, and especially being able to do experiments and like actually see everything. Like, so much fun. Same. Like dates just, they throw me off. They throw me off. I can't remember dates for anything. What common goal could they possibly share? Okay, so Y'shtola is getting out of there. Okay. Oh, she's coming over to me. Okay. I feared I might arrive too late, but I see you had the matter well at hand. I've taken measures to ensure that we are not pursued, yet I cannot say how long they will hold. Take your leave while the kobolds are still in disarray. I will follow anon. There is something I must investigate before I depart. I will teleport you to the Aetheryte and Zelma's Run, and we will rendezvous at Camp Bronze Lake. Agreed? So, it's harder to tell what Y'shtola is doing here, because they kind of keep us in the dark about it. But she's trying to stick around for a little while, so that she can investigate more about La Habrea and everything. Because obviously we weren't able to focus on that part of the investigation. We were sort of dealing with Titan in our face. So she could focus on the La Habrea portion of our investigation. She's definitely doing more than what what we've seen from the others so far. Or at least they're trying to show us a little bit more. It's just not super clear. It still comes off as a, oh, I can't help. I can't dance. Like, she is helping as much as she can, and we get to see a little bit more of that happening in the cutscenes. We didn't get to see so much of Thancred. We didn't get to see so much of Ida and Papalymo doing any of this work, though I'm not convinced that Ida was actually doing any of this work. Papalymo maybe. Thancred to an extent was was trying to help, and they did try to make it clear as to what he was trying to do. Like, he was trying to get backup to help with our operation, and obviously he's kicking himself for taking too long. He's like, I shouldn't have left to get backup. I should have actually been there and sent someone else for backup. Whereas Ida obviously had no regrets of saying, I can't help you dance. I can't. My legs. Oh no. Oh no. I can't do anything. But Y'shtola, she's like, okay, I am relieved to see you well, but come, let us discuss our next step. Okay. So clearly we've got more to do. She's keen on what our next step's going to be. She's like, though World will already have reached Maelstrom Command, protocol requires that a representative of our order inform the High Commander of the mission's success. The honor is rightfully yours, Boba. Good. So, like, she's also like, you know, this is another thing I love about Y'shtola. I absolutely love Y'shtola. Like many players do. Like, from what I've seen, people either love or hate her, and I feel like a lot of people that hate her either don't understand her or hate her just for the sake of hating her. The reason I love Y'shtola is that she doesn't take other people's bullshit, and on top of that, she is not one to be like, oh yeah, we were here and helping the whole time. You know, like she's just like, you know what? You did the work. Like, you're the one who took down Titan. Informing the Maelstrom that Titan is gone, you've earned it. Like, you did it. Like, I was your support and was making sure that we could get you there and all that stuff, but I wasn't there for the battle. I wasn't the one that took Titan down. It's not my place to take that. Whereas, like, Ida and Papalima, when you finally get the trust of the Sylphs, they're just like, oh, hey, what's up? We're here. Like that was shitty. That was shitty. Y'shtola doesn't pull that shit, because that would have been bullshit in her eyes, and she doesn't handle that bullshit. So, like, I absolutely love Y'shtola. Once again, I must commend you on a job well done. We shall speak again soon. Okay. I clicked too far in, and I was like, wait, I need to get to the main Aetheryte so then I can use the Aethernet properly. Between last stream and this one, I did do a little bit of troubleshooting to try to help with some of my frame rate issues. So you've probably noticed, if you've like really been looking at my screen a whole bunch, right above the frame return counter, you can see that I have a little bit of an overlay added there. That's automatically running. That is just showing what my frame rate looks like. So that way I can more easily monitor my frame rate while I'm streaming. Okay. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to remove the forced HDR on there, because I feel like the HDR is making it really hard to read that text, at least from my view of OBS, which is a shrunk down screen. It looked very pixelated, the text, and I didn't want actually seeing the dialogue on the screen to be hard. Even though I am reading a lot of these prompts out loud. Thanks for the follow, Clara. Even though I am reading these out loud, like, I know, for instance, like a lot of shows nowadays, I got in the habit of always turning on the closed captions for everything. I like being able to see it and hear it both. And I understand that sometimes there are going to be discrepancies, like, not just in the fact that I stumble my words and all that stuff. Like, I totally mess up what I'm reading. But also on TV shows, like, trust me, there are plenty of times, like, there's, like an episode of Bluey, for instance. Yes, I watch Bluey with my toddler sometimes. And the episode of Charades, Muffin's, like, sticking her arm through, one of the legs of a tutu. And they tell Buffin, well, just stick your leg through. And Buffin says, I'm trying. And Bingo actually says, that's your arm. But then in the closed caption it says, that's not how. And I'm like, wait, that's not what she's saying. Hi, Clara. How's it going? How are you doing on this fine Wednesday? I'm snagging my cat because she's like sitting perched on my desk, judging, wanting to snuggle. And I'm like, you could snuggle. That is excellent to hear. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, welcome to the stream. So happy to have you here. Thank you again for the follow. Yeah, that is really, really awesome. Like it's so great to hear stuff like that because like I know especially like I feel like the last month has been absolute chaos for so many people, and it's been so much of a, oh my gosh, thank goodness we're finally to Wednesday, but it feels like it should be Friday. And so I'm so glad to hear that it is going great for you. Like that is absolutely awesome. Okay, so off of my tangent, like it's very random that I went on to a Bluey tangent there and into captions, but we're going to get back to actual dialogue here. And we've got, thank you for coming, Boba. Word of your triumph reached me some while ago, but I am pleased to have it personally confirmed. First a Frit and now Titan. Truly, when I think of your achievements, I feel the loss of the Warriors of Light less keenly, and there could be no greater compliment than that. You and your order are heroes. The people of Limsa Lominsa are forever in your debt. I shall relay the details of your report to the Admiral forthwith. Please send my regards to the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Aw, so sweet that they got the whole counter there. Oh, wait, okay. Hold up. We might have to add to the counter. We might finally have our third prey return. We might finally be at that point. Boba, this has been Philia. Y'shtola has informed me of your success. You have won a great victory for the people of Eorzea, one that shall not be forgotten. I don't know why her mouth isn't moving. I've done a lot to try to adjust her mouth. Her mouth is just very not, she doesn't really move. Her ears wiggle when I blink and everything, but for some reason, like even though I have it set to have her mouth move based upon my talking, I've tried doing all the vowels and everything, I've tried adjustment, and this was the most I could get its mouth to move. What do you mean? She hasn't rigging function. Hello, my adorable cat. My cat is insisting that I hold her with both arms right now. Sorry for the question there. I totally am a novice when it comes to some of the VTuber stuff, because I am fairly new to it, and this is just a customizable model. It's not one that was actually made specifically for me. It's not one that like I created or anything like that. It's one that like I went through and tried to rig as much as I could adjust the rigging, but all right, cat. We gotta lay down on laps. I can't hold you, cat. Hey, David, how's it going? I am not an artist. Um, like I am doing great, David. Glad you're doing good. So glad to hear that you're doing really, really, really well. And glad that you could make it today. Um, I am not an artist. And I definitely am not a VTube VTube model creator or rigger or anything like that. Um, with so the model that I'm using, this one's the Prism customizable VTuber model. Um, that's totally fair, David. All good. Totally feel free to lurk. So glad to have you here. And, and totally understandable that you got a minute or you got a meeting in 30 minutes. Like I feel like that, like around this time of day is really popular time for meetings, like especially for any remote jobs that are like across the entire country or anything like that. Like totally understandable. But yeah, Claire, like it probably is like something that I have done wrong with my rigging. It's something that I've messed with, but I need to mess with it more to try to tweak it and adjust it. Um, oh, so it's still early for you at least. Like when I always thought of like I sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So I'm on Eastern time. So like this time is like lunchtime for me. So it was always like I had lunch meetings and I always preferred to have morning meetings. But some of my former colleagues that were on Pacific time, they always wanted to do meetings at like 7 a.m. my time. I'm like, it is 4 a.m. your time. Please go get some sleep. Why are you awake already? Um, that's totally fair. So Claire, I have not thought about switching my bottle. Primarily because I am a stay-at-home mom, so I do not have my own separate income outside of stream or anything like that. So it was like I have to keep as close to budget as I can. Um, if I do update my model in the future, it'll probably be something that I have to create myself because I know that commissioning an artist or anything like that is going to cost in the thousands of dollars, which is just something that I cannot afford to do. Um, and yeah, so like that's why I'm like I realize that if I'm going to do an upgrade, it'll be at at my own work. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. My household, we are currently in a single income household, and with where the economy is at, all that stuff, like I definitely can't be spending thousands of dollars on a VTuber model. And that's okay, Clara. I have zero, like my budget is zero at the moment. But I very much appreciate the offer. Um, that's absolutely okay. Thank you so much for the offer. Yeah. All right. So Boba. No, my budget is literally zero. It is a solid zero. Like I can't do installments. My budget is completely tied up with other things I still need to budget for. And I cannot prioritize upgrading my VTuber model. But thank you. All right, so what is more, both you and Y'shtola emerged from Orgara unscathed, why Tataru and others seemed as glad as they did of Titan's fall. You can look forward to a hero's welcome. We'll be awaiting your return from the Waking Seance. There's much to discuss. Godspeed. I mean, she didn't necessarily... Thanks, David. Yeah, this was definitely a budget model. And by budget, I mean, like, I purchased a customizable VTuber model and went that route, and much more affordable than going thousands of dollars. Yeah, that is one of my favorite things about this model is that you got the ear twitches that go with the eye blinks. Like, that's, like, in M14, like, I absolutely love the Mikotes because of their ear wiggles. Like, the ear wiggles are the absolute best thing ever. And I'm like, when I see my model bounce with her ears wiggling like this, I'm like, man, I really wish my Viera's ears wiggled like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I completely understand why Boba's bunny ears don't wiggle like that. She's just wearing a headband. Like, they're not going to wiggle. But I'm just like, man, if Zelda's ears would just wiggle, it'd be so absolutely adorable. Oh, they probably do. They probably do. Like, I would be very surprised if mods did not exist for that. Let's see. Odds screen counter. Hello. Odds screen counter. Update. Update. Hello. On screen counter. I updated it on the file. I pressed the button and it updated the file. And OBS is like, no, we're not updating. Fine. I will just put it in here. Pray, return, counter. I'm just going to manually do it since it doesn't want to follow my automation. OBS does not always cooperate with me. I guess I should put quotation marks. Yes, OBS could get so annoying. And like I used, when I first started streaming, I was using Meld Studio. But that was before Windows decided to shit itself on my, like, it just black screen of death, blue screen of death, all the screens of death. To the point that it was giving me kernel errors. And still giving me kernel errors even after I completely reinstalled Windows on my machine. Like, completely wiped that disk, put a new fresh install of Windows on it, and it still had kernel errors. So I was like, all right, we're done with this. We're going to switch to Linux because I was extensive. I ran so many tests, made sure it wasn't my hardware. My hardware is perfectly fine. And I mean, I'm still on the exact same machine. I changed absolutely no hardware whatsoever. I just changed my operating system and we're running fine. So for the yes and no. So I did have to learn new things for Linux. So, like right now I am running Nobara, which operates with Fedora under the hood. I've never operated with Fedora. I've never used Nobara. I've never used Fedora, or any of that stuff. So operating with that has been very, very different for me. However, I am not 100% new to Linux before this machine because I have a master's degree in computer science. I took a Linux class. I hated that Linux class with a passion. And if it says anything, the instructor for the class, uh, he was like, I spent 25 years as a system administrator, and I am coming in here to tell you, don't become a system administrator. Like, he hated it too. And he was still, he was the instructor for the class, but he was still the server system administrator. But yes, we had to do everything utilizing Linux. Like, even if we were on a Windows machine, we would have to secure shell into a Linux machine and operate that way. For submitting any of our assignments, any of that stuff. And then after I completed my master's, I started teaching a couple computer science classes for undergraduates. And with those classes, I also had them submitting their assignments with Linux. I taught on a Linux machine, but it was Ubuntu based. I can't remember exactly which version of Linux they were operating under, but it is using the same compositor that I am using now with Nobara. It used the KDE. So it all looks, like, appearance-wise, it all looks very, very, very similar. But underneath the hood, it's still different. It's, I still had a lot that I had to learn after I moved my main computer onto Linux, because it was one thing just teaching from it. It's very different from my main machine being Linux. And not only my main machine, but it's like, okay, so I've had my Steam Deck for a while, which runs on Linux. I took my Legion Go 2, and most recently I decided I absolutely hate Windows on handheld machines. I moved it to Linux Bazite. I'm about to move my laptop off of Windows and move it to Linux, because it's some of the shit that Windows is running on it. I'm like, there's no reason for my CPU to be running at almost 100% when nothing is running. So I'm about to move it onto Nobara, just like my desktop here. I've definitely had to learn a lot of different things. After I moved my main PC to it, and it definitely took time, and parts of it were more frustrating than others, because I originally was running, when I first made the move, I was using Linux Mint, which is it's still a great operating system, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't good for my streaming purposes. I don't know exactly what under the hood was causing the issues, but And that's where I do think, like, Linux Mint is Ubuntu based. So I feel like for most people, Mint is excellent. I do think Nobara is still, so for streaming, I would go Nobara. Like, I know it's not Ubuntu based, it is Fedora based. They have a Discord server, and they provide a lot of support on that Discord server. On top of that, with games and streaming and all that stuff, like, they actually have, let me see if I still have it open. I don't have the welcome thing open. Let me see if I can get the welcome open. There we go. And then I'll switch to screen share. So, like, they actually, Nobara and Bazite are both like this. Yes. The whole reason I VTube is for my daughter's safety. I'm big on privacy, because it was like, even before I started streaming, like when I was in high school, I dealt with stalkers. And I spent a lot of high school never feeling safe. And it was something that I was like, I do if I started streaming. Like, I mean, I'm in my mid-30s. I'm probably okay myself. But, yeah, I use, yes, I use Proton VPN. I also have, like, Tailscale, But yeah, I try to keep it that deep. And then like I knew like TikTok was really getting big into their local feeds, which I don't get me wrong. I do think having the local feed with TikTok, absolutely great for like local businesses and stuff like that to help promote them for people. Like I was getting videos for my local library and I thought that was absolutely fantastic. But it was like, they didn't give me a way to opt out of having me show up on the local feed. And that's where I had a problem. I'm like, I don't like, they could show me stuff that's local around me all they want to. Just let me opt out of being shown on a local feed. But yeah, with like one reason I recommend Nobara is like they actually start off walking you through. Here are the first things that you would do. Here are some optional things. And like they gear this pretty well to people that are not only gamers, but that are gaming content creators. So like the first steps, update system, media codec packages for being able to edit videos and stuff, getting your drives properly mounted and stuff, like absolutely great, because one thing about Linux is that any of your extra drives constantly get unmounted, and that helps walk you through how to automate that process so that you don't have to remount your drives every single time. Super helpful for me because all of my games are not on my main drive. You could add additional software, but also points you to getting DaVinci Resolve, which I love DaVinci. Absolutely fantastic. Free to use for the most part. Like there are some, like you could pay $300, I think it is, for some of it. But yes, that's for video editing. It is a very advanced video editor. Absolutely amazing. But like it helps you with that install process, points you towards Discord, points you towards OBS, the Bazaar for installing various different things. Like it has all kinds of different things. Helps you with troubleshooting, points you towards their Discord, points you towards their subreddit, like points you to all of this stuff. Not only does Nobara do it this way, but Bazite also does it. The reason I'm like, for streaming and stuff, I lean more towards Nobara is because Nobara is built more for a desktop or laptop environment or a large screen TV and things like that. Whereas Bazite is geared more towards a handheld console or docking a handheld console onto a TV, because it points more towards that gaming mode, like what you see with Steam on its OS. Whereas Nobara starts off more like the Steam OS's desktop mode, but you can go into the gaming mode. So they're both very, very similar. They both also run off, they both are Fedora based, which SteamOS is Arch Linux because they wanted to have all the control that they wanted over everything, and Arch has a lot more control. But Fedora helps keep you from messing too many things up. Bazite especially also, like, they make sure that they give you enough freedom that allows you to do what you want without letting you completely and totally wreck your computer. Nobara gives you a little bit extra freedom, so, like, you do have to be a little extra careful with Nobara. But those are the two that, particularly if going to stream or create video content or anything like that, those would be the two Linux operating systems that I would go with. As I said, Nobara is what I have on my desktop. It's what I'll put on my laptop. And then my Legion Go 2, because those are only Windows at the moment. They should be releasing their SteamOS downloadable sometime soon if they haven't already. And then they're supposed to release the version with it already pre-installed, I think in August or something like that. But for any handheld stuff, I recommend Bazite. That's totally fair. And I would say, I think that going with these, especially since it's like they have communities that are focused on helping everybody, because Nobara is made by like the Proton GE. Like if you go to their Discord server, let me see if I can find them real quick. Okay. So it is on streaming mode, but I'm just going to kind of come back here. Try not to completely move everything over. But it says Nobara Proton GE. It's because Glorious Eggroll, who does all the configurations for Proton GE, is also the one that does all the stuff for Nobara. So it's very much optimized for gaming. And then, as I said, like they also like gear it towards streaming and content creation and all that stuff. So, like, I think it's absolutely great. And then, pretty much the same thing with Bazite. Like I saw on there, it's not the exact same setup that I'm showing here, but it's very, very similar. Where it comes up with welcome and it has like some recommended things for you to add on there. And if I recall correctly, OBS is one of them. I don't think it actually recommended DaVinci on Bazite, but I mean, that's my go-to video editor. I'm not about to pay a whole bunch to have Adobe and then have to pay a subscription extra for Adobe. Like, nah, that is not the life that I want to leave. But yeah, like totally not about to go through all of that. Let's see. I accidentally opened up the updater when I was pulling all of that up. So I was like, what, why do I have all these screens here? I'm going to leave the updater open, but I'm going to go through the updater after I'm done with stream because I don't want to completely crash stream just because I'm updating things on my computer when it's like, I could do it afterwards. Like Discord doesn't need to be updated right now. It can wait till after stream. But yeah, like it was definitely a learning process, but I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't 100% new to me. And it's something that if I were teaching any of it, those would be my two top choices. If it weren't for the streaming, I would say that Linux Mint is still a great option, especially if currently gaming on Windows anyway. Like that's going to be the easiest transition, I feel like. But with adding the content creation and streaming on there, I would go with Nobara or Bazite hands down. The reason I say that is because with Mint, before I switched over to Nobara, I was dealing with a weird frame rate drop. And it was because my CPU and my GPU were not properly communicating everything with each other. Like the CPU just straight up just stopped sending jobs to the GPU, and it would cause my frame rates to completely plummet about every 15 minutes on stream. And it didn't matter if I was live or if I was just recording. So it made it impossible for me to make content properly. And it could totally not be a Linux Mint issue. It just happened to be it was happening on Linux Mint. And then in order to get Nobara installed, I had to make some power adjustments to my CPU. So, and I haven't tested running a stream or anything like that on Mint since I moved to Nobara. So, like, me adjusting those power issues to get Nobara installed could have totally fixed the frame plummeting issue on Mint for all I know. But like it could be fine, but I would say that was like that was just my experience. My experience has just been so much more smooth on Nobara for streaming. I haven't tested Bazite for streaming, but it runs games extremely well on my go-to. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of, I'm drinking an energy drink today because I did not sleep super great. Okay. Let's see. So, it's totally fine. It is something that I am totally getting used to. Like I'm getting used to the fact that I'm probably not going to sleep well for quite some time. No fault of my child's. Like I know a lot of people want to blame their kid. My child actually sleeps absolutely fantastic. She wakes up a little bit earlier for my liking. I like sleeping in, and she's over there like, yeah, 6 a.m. Let's go. But it's not her fault that I'm not sleeping well. It's totally all me. All right. Huge tangent. Back to Final Fantasy XIV here. We've got Menphilia is saying that she is waiting for our return at the Waking Sands. And that's why I went ahead, even though she didn't say pray return, she said return. So she wants us to return to the Waking Sands. She may not have used the exact words. I'm counting it towards that counter, though. It's been too long since that counter has gone up. So we're counting it. And the quest over to the side there says return to the Waking Sands. So we're going to do that. Before I return to Waking Sands, though, I want to make sure that I go ahead and do my job quest before I run too far away. And we can see the game is having a frame plummet there. It is just the game that is having a frame plummet. Like, that was the thing with Linux Mint, is it wasn't just one thing that was having frame plummets. It was absolutely everything was just plummeting and not properly communicating. What's going on, game? All right, enjoy your meeting. Hopefully it goes well. I know I always never really enjoyed meetings, but some meetings tend to go better than others. So hopefully you have a good meeting. All right, so we've got Rhea Osina. She's got a favor to ask of us, and it looks like we've got her brother coming along too. So let's see what they've got. Okay. And hopefully we've got some more awesome white mage stuff coming. Boba, I owe you an apology. When last we spoke, I promised I would find a way to convince my brother to accept you. But I fear he intently refuses to heed my words. Well, that's the thing about Gridanians. They're stubborn. They don't want to listen. They're not keen on accepting outsiders and everything, and they're not keen on adapting. And even though I started off in Gardania and would have hoped that more people would be accepting of my Lalafell, it only makes sense that there's going to be a whole bunch of resistance. Why, the more I try to reason with him, the more he shuts his ears to me. All pride and no common sense, that one. I could scarce believe we are kin. So intent is he to prove that you are unneeded, that he dashed out into the forest all alone, boasting that he would placate every elemental and save the forest by himself. Needless to say, such a task is far beyond his powers. There's a part of me that would like nothing more than to see the foolish boy learn his lesson, and yet, as a sister, I fear for him. Would you go look after him, Boba? Sincere or no, he is in many ways still a child, and the forest grows ever more unsafe these days. I thought to go myself, but if you were to save my brother from his own recklessness, perhaps he might finally see how fatuous he has been. When last I spoke with him, he announced his intentions to begin his efforts in the bramble patch. With any luck, you may still find him there. Now, please go in haste before some ill fate befalls him. Okay. And we need to go up here to the bramble patch. Okay, let's see. I am clicking on all the wrong things right now. Let's see. That's why I don't have Kick open. Because Kick never likes when I have a VPN. So it's like, nah, we're not going to open that. Because I only have a couple exceptions for the VPN, and my web browser is not one of those exceptions. It looks like we're going to have some bad frames that are happening. So it looks like I need to do some more tweaking to figure out exactly what is going on, why... What is limiting my frame rate so much, because nothing should be limiting it. Like my CPU, my GPU, everything seems to be fine. My memory is absolutely fantastic. Oops, I accidentally clicked through, not even thinking. Okay, so he said, if it isn't my sister's favorite adventurer, come to show me up, have you? Dude, don't make the Gobu upset here. He's about to be upset. Well, you can march right back and tell sister I'm doing just fine. I'm only resting. Even if I were hurt and unable to placate this trait, what could a run-of-the-mill adventurer like you do about it? Run-of-the-mill adventurer, I just took down Titan, bitch! Apparently I can keep myself healed up better, bro. That's what this run-of-the-mill adventurer can do. Nice. I love when meetings get moved, or it's I always feel like, especially the meetings that get scheduled, that it's like could have been an email. I especially love when those get canceled. I'm like, yes, you finally realized this could just be a freaking email. We don't need to have a meeting about it. And like, what's even worse is when you have the meetings that could have been an email, but you also understand why it's not an email, and you're not the one that's the problem. It's like one of your colleagues is the one that's the problem. And they, no matter how many times they are told they're the problem, they don't want to see that they're the problem and why. And they're like, oh, that could have been an email. It's like, the meeting happened because of you. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, my husband usually has a lot of meetings with customers and stuff like that, and like they've been working on redistributing some things, because like right now he's the one in charge, and they're trying to make it so that he doesn't have to always take point quite so much when it comes to those important meetings with customers. But yeah, he's always so grateful when he's like, I don't have to be the one that is taking point on this one. I'm just kind of there. But then he also has to go to all those meetings that he's just like, that could have been a freaking email. This is dumb. Yeah, I always liked being the just support. The meetings that I especially didn't like were the ones that, yes, they should be meetings, but it's like there were meetings that were in place that it's like I get told that I should be the one running the meeting, but then there's going to be someone else that's there that I'm like, they're going to end up taking over the meeting and just override everything that I say anyway. So what's the point of me running the meeting to begin with? Why am I doing all this work to prepare for this meeting, to run this meeting, just to be told, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do this instead. Because, like, for instance, I used to teach a lot of online classes, which is another reason why I V2, because I'm like, I know a lot of people that took, like, my online classes. If they saw my face with my voice, they would immediately be able to find me. And so I'm like, I'm going to V2. And, but anyway, I taught online classes, but the thing was I taught online math. Math is not one of those classes you want to take online unless you actually are good at math. The problem is that the math classes that I primarily taught online were not for the people that were good at math. They were for the ones that took a long break from math, that were always told that they were never going to be good at math, that always had that negative feeling about math, that like just they needed somebody actually there. Like, they needed to be actually there in person with an instructor. And I offered on-campus sections too, but there were always campus students because they didn't want to go to these classes. They were like, no, I want to be online. As the instructor, ultimately it was supposed to be my call as to whether they could be in my class or not. And personally, I was always like, no, there are rules. Like, we've seen the data. They're not going to be successful. And I don't want to be the one who has to fail them at the end of the day. Like, I want them to be successful, and I'm willing to be the bad guy now and say, no, you cannot be on my online class, but how about you come take it with me in person so that way I can build you up properly. Because it was just awful online. But there was always someone that would override me every time. And I'm like, why ask my opinion? Why ask me to lead these meetings with students if you're just going to override me anyway? And especially when it was like, they would end up dropping the class within a week anyway. It's like, see, this was why I wanted to have the convo about this before you even registered for the class, before you wasted your money on the class. Like, it drove me nuts. Always drove me nuts. Don't make it my call and then unmake it my call. It so annoying. So annoying. About as annoying as this guy here, Abrun Sinha, being like, beginner's luck. Dude, I just took out 4 sprites that you struggled with. I'm Ifrit's Bane and Titan's Bane. This was not luck, sore loser. Not even like we had money going on this or anything like that, but he still wants to be a sore loser over here. If you think healing a sapling or 2 is going to convince me that you are worthy inheritor of the teachings of Master Otoa, Abrun, you yourself do not believe those words. Sister, what are you doing here? She came there to slap you a little bit. saying to my pig-headed brother's safety, what do you think I'm doing? For better or worse, it would appear you suffer only from bruises to your leg and your pride. Arun, for all your obstinacy, I know that deep down you are no fool. No, you are wise beyond your years. You realize that well, and you realize that. Jeez, I can't talk now. You realize as well as I the dire fate that will befall Gridania if we do not quell the Great One's fury and restore peace to the wood. The adventurer is not Pajali. This is true. But what of it? Hey, Gular, how's it going? Would you blindly trumpet tradition as the very forest turns against us and brings ruin to our home? We have a greater calling to answer. You know this. Oh, I thought he was going to cry there for a second. I thought Arunasena was going to cry. I do, sister. Maybe he is going to cry. Kind of deserves to cry after all that. Oh, my dear Arun, what are sisters for if not to forgive their little brother's fits of folly? I am doing great. Happy Wednesday. So happy that we're to the middle of the week. And I feel like this week has been just so much better than pretty much the entire month of May. I feel like May was just not a great month for just about everybody universally. Now, Boba, I believe the most important task of all still awaits us. Let us return to Camp Tranquil. Oh, I don't want to go to Waking Sands yet. Oh, what is that? Ugh. What is that frame drop? That is garbage. That is disgusting frame rate drop. Ew. Ew. Let me... Let's see. Oh, I can't. Let's see. Yeah, okay. While I'm live, I cannot change my frame rates in OBS. I was like, maybe if I just lower my frame rates down in OBS a little bit, that will allow it to allocate more frames to 14 properly. But it should be fine. Like, my CPU is at like 15%. My GPU is admittedly probably higher, but also by no means maxed out. Like, nowhere near close to maxed out. My memory is at like 50%. Oh, geez, I'm clicking through her walls of text. Okay. Boba, thank you. I knew it was only a matter of time before Arun came around to see reason, and yet his hesitance to accept you was not entirely unfounded. When we first met, I promised that one day I would share with you the tale of how white magic came to be regarded as a forbidden art. Well, I suppose this is as good a day as any for the telling. The tale begins some 3 millennia ago, in the 5th astral era. It was the time of the endless frost, when a barren wasteland of snow and rime stretched as far as the eye could see. Food was scarce, and warmth scarcer. The histories hold many a grim tale for those who died in their beds, starving and benumbed. So did our ancestors discover magic, born out of the most fundamental instinct, survival. In time, the winter thawed, and magic was no longer essential for survival. But once awakened to its conveniencies, there was no returning to how things once were. Ere long, the people discovered all the myriad ways in which magic could be employed, and civilization flourished. But prosperity breeds contempt, and nations warred for power and riches. so did the people seek greater and greater power to rain destruction down upon their enemies. So was born black magic, the most devastating form of sorcery the world had seen. At the same time, another form of magic emerged, brought forth by those who would keep this immersed destructive power in check. That is, white magic, our magic. Does this surprise you? Just as there could be no dawn without the night, the white and black are but two sides of the same coin. I don't understand how that was supposed to surprise me. Like, I'm like, it's yin yang. Like, I obviously they go together. War raged on, and magic was used and abused with little concern for the consequences. And consequences there were. Unchecked use of magic soon dried the flow of aether, threatening to bring blight to the land. The magic of healing, it made little difference. If used with no concern for the aether, our magic could prove as ruinous to the land as the most devastating black magic spell. As so it was that the practicing of white magic was forbidden, with one exception, the Padjal. Our kind were entrusted as soul shepherds of the now forbidden art, to serve as healers and bringers of peace while ensuring that this great power would never again be misused. Though he is still young, Arun feels this profound sense of responsibility as strongly as any of us, thus his hesitance to accept you. But having seen your abilities and the sincerity of your intentions, you can rest assured his doubts have been dispelled. With the three of us united in place and purpose, and your skills ever growing, the day that we may perform the quieting draws near. To our fortune, the Great One has not yet been entirely consumed by fury, but our time remains short. To commune with the Great One and restore the 12 Woods to its former state of harmony, we must truly be one of heart, one of mind. It is to this end that Atoa Kant has guided you to us. Further your mastery of our art, Boba, and let us mend the wounds of the wood together. And here we get Cure 3. Ta-da. I didn't stress about getting that before running Titan, though, because Titan, I double-checked, it sinks down to level 36. So, like, I had regen, but I wasn't going to have Cure 3. So that's why I didn't stress about having it. But now we can return to the Waking Sands. Even though she did say pray return, we are returning. So I went ahead and increased that counter from 2 to 3. Because, like, I feel like it still counts. Still counts. Oh my goodness. Well, this is just unbearable. What is this frame rate? This is complete and total garbage. This is just garbage. And it's totally something that I've probably done on my end as far as like how I configured everything. Particularly having my overlays. Oh no. Okay. We're gonna walk slowly. We've got the despair music. We've got all kinds of people laying on the ground. Oh my goodness. Got a lot of people laying on the ground. Can I even talk to any of them? Jeez, it's been ransacked. I thought this happened a little bit later. We've got, yeah, more people. I like how his head is shaved. That's pretty cool. I used to have part of my hair was shaved down and did some designs and stuff in my hair, but I don't have that anymore. I let my hair grow back out. It was kind of annoying to maintain. The main reason I ended up doing it was because I cut my hair shorter, but like the right side of my hair, it was like constantly getting in my face, even though I part it so that most of my hair goes to the left, because I just have way too much hair in general. Like, my hair itself is actually thin. There's just a ton of it. And on the right side, I constantly felt like I had to clip it back. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shave it down. I'm just going to go get my hair cut and see if I can get shaved down. Well, my stylist normally doesn't do that kind of stuff, but she, because she was like, she's like, honestly, I don't do well with men's cuts or anything like that. I just don't do well with those tools. She does more of, like, the reason I go to her is because, like, my hair is actually purple in real life. And she does a fantastic job of getting the color that I want. And does fantastic job with the rest of my hair. But she was like, I can't shave that down, and I definitely can't do the design on there. So I went to the stylist that my husband goes to and had her doing it for a while. And, like, there was one time I had it shaved down, and it was like flat, like a flower burst. And it was really, 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 really cool. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I had it shaved down for not this most recent fan fest, because I didn't go to the most recent fan fest. I wasn't lucky enough. But when they announced Dawn Trail for the Vegas Fan Fest for that, I had it shaved down for that. Having my hair shorter and having part of it shaved down definitely helped with wearing a wig for my outfit for Fan Fest. But it was awesome. And I kept it shaved down for a long time. It was just after my daughter, because I kept having to go every 3 or 4 weeks to have it shaved down, because it grew really, really fast. So, like, the design was pretty much gone if I waited that long. So get shaved down and I could do a completely new design. But I was like, I can't keep doing that, and it's costing, like, she was only charging me like $10 or something like that, because it was just a quick buzz, and then taking a smaller buzzer and just getting the design in there. But it was cool, but I couldn't maintain it, and I prefer to maintain my vibrant purple hair. I've had purple hair for definitely been over 10 years. I want to say it's been like 11 years that I've primarily been purple. Like 7 years, I was really dark purple. Then I had to be blonde for a little bit because I was transitioning to a super light purple to try to help cover up the fact that I was having gray hair come in. Dark hair does not hide gray very well. So I was going lighter to try to hide the gray. And here recently I've been going back darker because I'm like, my hair doesn't like being lighter. I've finally given up after a few years of trying to have the lighter purple. My hair just doesn't cooperate with it, so I'm going back darker again. And like, you know what? I'll embrace the salt and pepper that's coming in. And my cabbage friend is on the ground. Noxia, whose kneecaps am I taking? Who did this? This one is glad. Walking one is safe. I don't get to go to a whole lot of cons. I actually have not gone to a con since that fan fest. But I'm really hoping that, especially at, like, I'm really hoping that I could get more income happening, so that way I can go to more conventions and everything. Before that, I had gone to 1 or 2 cons. But also, for sure, if I go to more cons in the future, I want to do more cosplaying. That's one reason why I don't go as much, is because I know that I want to do a really good cosplay, and I know I definitely don't have the budget to make a really good cosplay. I'm like, I want to. And what's actually funny is, like, I'm a terrible seamstress. Like, I am horrible at it. I have a sewing machine. I suck at using my sewing machine. I would rather hand sew. But I also know I can't, like, really sew garments or anything like that. However, I can do, like, any of the molding or anything like that. Like, I could do the molding foam and all that stuff. Like, I could handle all of that kind of stuff. I know that if we go into cosplay and all that stuff, my husband would have to be the seamstress of it, because he's way better at that stuff than I am. I can't do it. Like, I remember trying to sew a pillowcase. A freaking pillowcase, right? Like, that should be one of the easiest things to use a sewing machine for. My pillowcase was complete and total garbage. It sucked. I did such a bad job with that pillowcase. Like, and then I literally got a sewing machine so that I could sew round pillows, basically, to turn into, like, ottomans and stuff. And yeah, that very quickly turned into a hand sewing job, because it went bad. I'm so bad at actually sewing. Yeah, I think that, like, I could buy stuff and, like, piece it together and everything like that, but I feel like some things I'm like, oh, I would need to make alterations to it, and unless I can hand sew it decently, then it's fine if I can hand sew it, but if I have to use a sewing machine, then I'm like, no. Otherwise, like, I could make, like, accessories and stuff like that with foam and clay and things like that. Like, that I can do. And I can also paint. Like, I could do all the painting stuff, but sewing, no, not for me. Not for me. All right, Neuroxia, my cabbage friend. Darling, what did they do to you? She's like, this one is glad that walking one is safe. Okay. We need to know, Neuroxia. What did they do to you? Tell me. Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna see whose bitch ass did this.
We'll be awaiting your return at the Waking Sands. There is much to discuss. Godspeed.
Okay, so that's Amphilia talking to us. That was the last things that we heard from Amphilia before I went off on my tangent to do my White Mage job quest. As I said, she didn't actually say pray return, but I went ahead and upped that counter.
Thank heaven she is safe.
That... not her most convincing delivery there.
Louisoire, do you see? Your light shines brightly in this one, and in time, it will illuminate the realm once more.
Yeah, not the most beautifully executed lines here.
Oh!
Advance no further!
Oh, this bitch.
We have come for the one who slayed Ifrit and Titan.
Okay, so you're after me. Why are you just cutting down random people?
Bring her forth, and you may yet know mercy.
Tataru. Oh, poor Tataru.
Confound it. Stay out of sight. I would leave a message with you.
Oh wow. Okay. Like, you could at least have even whispered that?
I surrender myself, on the condition you spare the innocents.
I'm sorry, Memphilia. I'm sorry, you're a minor. It's not like you have anything to bargain with there. I surrender myself. Well, of course you're going to surrender. What are you going to do, fight? Like, I don't understand what the alternative there was, Memphilia. And I don't see how that condition is... Like, they're not going to hold that condition. They have no incentive to hold that condition. Like, there would be incentive if it meant that you were going to go quietly and not fight back or any of that stuff. But, like... Have fun at your meeting, David. But yeah, it's like... Memphilia, you can't... You don't fight. You don't even fight. This doesn't make sense, Memphilia. This makes 0 sense. Like...
Conditions. There speaks the Supreme Scion.
Yeah.
I'll grant you have courage, but you would be better served by armor.
Yeah, like you have no armor on. You have no means of actually fighting. And it makes absolutely no sense as to why you're like, oh yeah, I surrender. I surrender. But you gotta spare everybody. Like, that's just...
Search all you will. The one you seek is not here.
So it would seem.
I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not wanting to take
And yet you knew to look here. But
the
how?
bitch's kneecaps or anything like that. Like, of course I still want to take them, but still.
Hold that thought.
Ugh. Bitch.
No!
Like, what? That's so rude.
Conditions of surrender. Denied.
I mean, who would have ever guessed? Who'd have ever predicted that? Who would have ever predicted that she was going to deny those conditions of the surrender? But of course, she could have actually said that before handcuffing Memphilia. Like, she handcuffed her and all that stuff, making her, like, further making her defenseless. But still, it's like, Memphilia, you have no means to actually fight them or force them to meet your conditions. So you have absolutely nothing to bargain with here. Like,
Cease at once!
Have you not done enough?
yeah, I'm kind of like, why are we doing extra stabbies? Like, like, come on.
Perhaps. Enough. We must away. Though we have not found our quarry, the High Priestess of the Scions should suffice for now. They say she also possesses the echo. I cannot wait to hear her scream.
I don't understand why she's called High Priestess. Like, it's not like it's not like she's a magic user. Yeah, you're just being cruel for the sake of being cruel, dude. Like, Did she need to shoot you? No, but she also told you to freaking stop. Like, you're being excessive, man. She didn't need to meet you with being excessive, but,
Bring
you know.
the prisoners.
Well, they already escorted out the other prisoners. Like, we already saw Urianger and Papalimo and Tataru being escorted out. We already saw that. Walking one, Menphilia asked this one to, in case walking one returned, this one was to say, at church in Eastern Thanalan, walking one must claim sanctuary. This one tried to protect walking one Menphilia from Imperial ones. Though I also, like, Neuroxia was up against the wall before when she was kicked. Or when they were kicked. And now Neuroxia is in the middle of the floor. Like, that is confusing. But that's neither here nor there. Forgive this one. Save. I know, my cabbage! Now I know how the guy in Avatar Last Airbender feels about his cabbages. Thanks for the follow, Chill. Okay. We gotta go back to Church St. Adama Landama. Bandama. Adama Landama. Yes, you did get here at an interesting time. Like, we're right after Titan, after dealing with the bullshit of Titan and all of that buildup. Now we're to the part of, oh shit, shit just got real. Shit just got real. Oh, geez. Frames. Come on, computer. I don't... Okay. We're gonna try to make these low frames work. It's probably something I have set up somewhere in the background. Like, my hardware should be able to handle this more than fine, because everything's at like 50% or less, so there's no reason I should be at breaking 13 frames a second. Like, really? Really? Like, there's absolutely no reason for this. Ew, ew, now we went to single digits. No, ew. That is gross. That is gross. I mean, I'm glad I at least did put the monitor right on my screen, right there above the prey return, so that way I could see exactly where my frame rates are going. And like, I was checking it before I started stream, and it was like, it was maxed out. So I was like, okay, we should be fine. It's just as soon as I hit go live, the game by itself plummets. So it is just the game that's being impacted, at least. But there's absolutely no reason for it to be plummeting. My resources, like, there shouldn't be this limit on there. So I need to double check and see where I put my hardware limits set up at. Because there's no reason for me to have them low. All right, so we've came to the church, and Eluid is like, "Is there something troubling you, my child? You have the look of one who has endured great suffering. If there's anything I can do to help, anything at all, you need only ask." Okay, so he's giving us multiple options, and it says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Curse my enemies, Father. Call down divine vengeance upon those who butchered my friends. Or the wild roses are dead, Father. I know not what to do." And I'm going to go with that third one. Like, I know some people might pick nothing. But it's like, I haven't sinned, necessarily. There's no reason for me to be like, oh, curse. Like, if I'm going to divine vengeance on my enemies, I'm going to do it myself. So, at least that's how Boba is. Like, she just wants to take out everybody's kneecaps. So, like, she's not one to leave that to a god to do for her. But if we recall earlier in the MSQ, that's the best I can come up with too, Chill. Like, I would assume that they crawled over so that way they would be seen a little bit better. But I also wish they would have spared their energy to not die. Like, I would have found them. Like, I ran around all over the place seeing all those dead bodies. So I totally would have gone over there. My poor cabbage. Regardless, my poor cabbage. Regardless of what happened. Like, for all I know, like, one of the enemies could have dragged them to the middle of the room to be like, look, they're about to die. You're going to watch them die. Like, it could have totally been a matter of spite from the enemy, too. Because the enemy was looking for me, after all. My poor cabbage, though. My poor cabbage. But earlier in MSQ, the secret phrase from the Scions has to do with wild roses. And I do not have a good way of knowing that Memphilia actually was able to communicate with the church to let them know that I was coming to seek refuge there. So I want to make sure that he knows, hey, something happened to the Scions. I am coming here because of that. And I need help to figure out what to do. That's why I am going to go with that. Some people might pick nothing because, you know, we're the stoic, silent warrior of light and everything. But I'm sure there are some interesting responses if you pick any of the other ones, but that is the one that I am going to go with so we could progress the dialogue some more. So the wild roses. I see. You may speak freely here. We are all friends of the Scions. So it does seem like he didn't know, which makes sense. Like, Memphilia didn't necessarily have a way to communicate with him. She just had enough time to tell Neuroxia what the message was for me. She didn't really have enough time to be able to call the church to be like, hey, my buddy's coming there, by the way. Like, and all the other situations stuff. Like, she was going to be taken hostage. Or at least that was her end goal, was to hopefully be able to negotiate herself being taken hostage to spare everybody else. But also, it's like, again, Memphilia, you're a minor. You making these conditions doesn't help anybody. Like, they're not going to meet you on your conditions because you have no way to enforce them meeting those conditions. Like, that's... you surrendering is also the best option for you. Like... How could this have happened? Are you certain that Memphilia was among those taken by the Garleans? Bitch, please. I mean, father, please. Of course I know. I too am possessed of the echo. All right, father. Let's pray no further harm comes to them. I mean, this is the Garleans, and I mean, she shot one of her own people after she told him to stop. Now, admittedly, that guy, as I said, he was going way too far. He was getting way too stabby stab with already dead bodies. Like, come on, man, they're already gone. You don't need to continue stabbing. But she also didn't need to shoot him. And especially with the fact that she left with saying, oh, well, she's got the echo. I look forward to hearing her scream. So, like, Memphilia especially is probably going to undergo some shit. You may stay here for as long as you wish. It is the least I could do for a friend of Memphilius. I have known her since I was a child. Well, do I recall the day of our first meeting? I'm going to close those. Oh, that didn't work. I was like, let me close out of my personal overlays and just try to pay a little bit better attention in OBS for alerts and stuff, but that didn't work. I swore then to do everything in my power to support her, and I will gladly offer the selfsame service to her brother and sister scions. So please, no matter what you require, you need not hesitate to ask. Marcus, would you come here for a moment? Yes, Father? Oh, yes, we got to talk to you before about the dead corpses there for a while. When I was hauling all these ripe corpses and then another dead corpse, and all of them were flowers in my inventory. Like, I got to deal with Marcus for that. If you require assistance, please speak to Marcus. He is a trifle shy, but I assure you he means well. I should explain. Marcus is a survivor of the Battle of Cartano. Alas, his experiences took a terrible toll upon his mind. Had we not taken him into our care, he would surely have perished in the desert. Marcus, I want you to look after Boba. Do you understand? Yes, Father. And I love that he has goggles on underneath of his hood. Okay, Marcus has a personal request to make of you. Okay. Okay, Marcus. Okay. Excuse me, Boba. Do you have a moment? It concerns this broken horolog, which has been found in the pocket of a man brought here for burial. Why is it every time I come here I gotta deal with dead bodies? This is supposed to be a church. But I'm dealing with dead, like, I just left a whole bunch of dead bodies. I don't want to be dealing with more dead bodies. Like, I'm a little traumatized. My cabbage. My cabbage. There's something familiar about it, but just what I cannot say. Perhaps if I tinker with the device, it will come to me. Yes, it's also a cemetery, but yes, I'm like, I don't want to be around dead bodies. I don't want to. I don't want to. However, I lack the proper tools to do so. I would ask you to journey to Camp Drybone in my stead to obtain a bull-point chisel and a pair of needle-nose pincers. They are often used by goldsmiths, so perhaps they would be the best people to ask. Of course, I do not expect you to foot the bill here. Here, take this coin purse. That should cover it. Okay. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and use 50 gil to go and do that teleport instead of running there. Despite my terrible frames at the moment. I've got plenty of gil. I have almost 70,000. Okay. Which I know, like, compared to my main character, 70,000 is... I would be crying if that's how much gil my main character had. But for level 40 and pretty much only doing MSQ, aside from working on Rogue somewhere like 17 or something like that, like I feel like almost 70,000, like that's not too shabby. I'm okay with that. A ballpoint chisel, you say, and a pair of needle-nose pincers. Those things don't come cheap, you know. Yeah, so this is an alt character. I actually have quite a few alt characters. It has just been a long time since I've gone through the MSQ. And one of the things I like to do as I go through MSQ is I like to give tips and stuff. Like, for instance, like scaling of these windows on an individual level instead of having to adjust the entire UI, I feel like can be really helpful. And you can do it with all kinds of different things. Not just like those bubbles, but you can also do it like with the chat. Like you can actually make the convo bubbles even bigger in the game, and all of that stuff. But I like to do a lot of tips as I go for newer players, and also kind of try to reminisce a little bit as far as like what is going on in the story and all that stuff. Because like for instance, just about every time I went through the Titan portion of the story, I got very skippy on the cutscenes, even with my main character, because those scenes pissed me off. Like having to deal with the one dude calling him Titus and yanking my chain and then acting all uppity when I didn't want to listen to him because I'm like, I don't care about Titus, I care about Titan. And then the other guy's sending me on their freaking errands to get freaking cheese. I was like, nope, we ain't doing this. So I got a little skippy there for a little bit on the cutscenes. And on top of that, I've quite honestly forgotten what all quests they've cut. Like, I remember they cut a lot of quests in between when my main character did this and now. So I feel like it's nice to go through it again and see exactly where all of those scenes are at. And I try not to spoil as best I possibly can, which is why I was like, oh yeah, it's interesting that guy has goggles underneath his hood. Like I left it at that because I'm like, I don't want to be spoilery as far as Marcus goes, or anybody at the church. But I'm also like, I'm trying to play as most like a sprout as I possibly can. Like I'm not in a guild. I've pretty much been just trying to queue on my own. There have been a few times I've seen some people that are from stream that are like by me. I'm like, hey, do you want to run this instance with me? But for the most part, my character has been doing a lot on her own. All the guild that she has all been earned on her own. Nothing has been shared from my main character or anything like that. She's just been completely solo. As far as like my other alts and stuff goes, like my main character doesn't have everything to maxed yet. I've been slacking really bad this expansion, but in the past expansions, typically I would get all classes up to level 100 fairly quickly. Like typically before the 0.1 patch, I had everything to max. And not only my main character at max, but also had at least one alt with a job or two to max. My alt characters, though, typically I didn't level all jobs with them. I just had a handful of jobs that they would focus on. One of them being my 1.0 character that has the awesome back tattoo. She's one that I mainly made her into an alt because I didn't find her until years after I had started playing again. Like I was like, I couldn't remember where I'd made her. So yes, I was technically a 1.0 player. Technically. It's a very, very fine technicality. Personally, I wouldn't claim that I was necessarily a 1.0 player because I played Thaumaturge for maybe 30 minutes before I realized I absolutely hated it. And it was probably because I picked Thaumaturge. Like, I shouldn't have done that as my first job. In hindsight's 2020 now. But like, I hated it. It was because my husband had gotten the collector's edition and it came with like a free copy for somebody else. So I got the free copy, and he, I think, was blacksmith, and he didn't realize that I want to say he could only pick one job. And so he was stuck as blacksmith. Like, he was not going to be able to pick up a battle job. He was just going to have to sit in town and just craft all the time. I'm like, well, that's complete total bullshit. And so I picked a battle job on purpose, and I picked Thaumaturge because I had played Final Fantasy III right before trying out 14. I really, really liked playing Black Mage. I knew that Thaumaturge was going to eventually become Black Mage, so I was like, no, let me start with that. And found very quickly that the game just was not for me. And it didn't help that I was like an undergraduate in college and was running on a piece of shit computer, and like it was not great. I didn't come back to the game. Like I tried it a few times during beta in preparation for the 2.0 launch. I think there was also like some alpha testing that I did with it. Like there were a few times that I tried coming back, but the story just kept not gripping me very well. I didn't truly start playing the game until Shadowbringers, several patches in, because the game went on sale for Black Friday. I picked the game up then and pretty much like stuck to it. Yeah, like, I think it was, I can't remember exactly when they decided to implement it, but I feel like not super long after they launched 1.0, because we went and bought it and tried it out on day one of 1.0. And I think it was, I can't remember exactly when they did it, but they decided to switch it up so that way you couldn't even start as crafting or gathering. You had to start as battle, and you could pick up crafting and gathering later. But they also decided to do away with the locking you to only one job and allowing you to play any job that you want to. He had made the mistake of not picking battle from the start. Like he really wanted to start off with crafting, that way he could at least start making some gil first before he started going out to the wilds, and like try to make his own armor and everything. And he was like, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't like make my own gear and then pick up a battle job to go out into the field. Like this seems weird to me. And I get that some MMOs are like can or may have used to be like that. And like the logic behind it makes sense. It's not really possible for one person to do absolutely everything, but also at the end of the day, it's a video game. We should be able to do absolutely everything. like we shouldn't have to have alt characters to experience everything. It's like if it really were not a fantasy and more based upon real life, yes, it would make sense for it to be oh, well, you are just a blacksmith. Other people bring you materials, you craft it into something, and they go out and gather the materials, they fight the monsters, like other people do that stuff, and you're the one that's in town just making things. Like, it makes sense, but it's also like that's not conducive to an MMO as a video game. Okay, so we've got this traveling goldsmith, and he's shocked by the amount that I just gave him out of the coin purse here, because apparently it's pretty weighty, according to that description to my top right of the screen. It says, hand the weighty coin purse to the traveling goldsmith. And apparently it is pretty weighty for a reason, because this goldsmith is like, Thal's balls. I mean, yes, that should be sufficient payment. Nice doing business with you. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Okay, so we gotta deliver these tools to Marcus, which means I gotta run back out. There we go. There, I'm starting to load. Every time I end up going out this back end instead of the other way. There we go. I'm gonna go out over this way. Every time with this damn area, I always mix up where exactly I'm supposed to go. Can't wait to finish the MSQ and have my flying. That would be so great. definitely do not miss having to do all of this from the ground. Like that part is not the part that I've missed about any of A Realm Reborn MSQ. All right, so Marcus is like, have you brought the tools I requested? Okay, Marcus, here you go, here you go, here you go. Here's those tools. Something occurs to me. Please wait here for a moment. It was for naught. Though I repaired the device easily, the sensation that stirs within me remains a mystery. But how? How did I do it? These hands. My hands. They moved with a mind of their own, deftly manipulating the clockwork mechanisms. There was no doubt or uncertainty. I knew exactly what to do, as though I had performed the same motions countless times before. Pardon me, Boba. This was a mistake. Please give the horolog to Sister Lunad. The man who once owned this is certainly in her care, or not certainly, currently. The one who once owned this is currently in her care, and I think it best that it be returned to him. Okay. Okay, Marcus. Okay. Oh. Well, my game is crashing. So what I'm going to do with that, let me switch to just talking here. My game just absolutely decided to crash. So I definitely need to look into my settings to figure out exactly what is being prioritized on my computer. Which means I need to go into like some backend stuff and all that stuff. For those of you who don't know, I do run on Linux because Windows decided to shut itself a while back. So I am on Linux nowadays. And so I will try again with fixing some of those issues. I'm going to fix where my name is at on the screen. And tweak some more of my settings to try to fix what exactly is causing my frame rates to completely crash anytime I press that go live button. Because we've made progress from when we were on Linux Mint. Linux Mint was every 15 minutes or so was causing the frame rates to plummet about every 15 minutes, like clockwork. And this seems to be a relatively new issue. It was not always impacting our running of Final Fantasy XIV, but something here recently, I probably messed with something that I shouldn't have messed with, and it is causing all of my settings to not properly prioritize. And like Final Fantasy XIV, like I had to reorganize my priorities because Final Fantasy XIV was hogging all my resources at one point. So I've put in a lot of settings to try to demote it a bit, and it seems like I need to fix that. So that way it's not so low that it's not just going down to single digits and teen frame rates, but then straight up crashing. So with that on, I will be back on Friday. I will not be back with Boba on Friday. On Fridays, I will be streaming with my main character. And this Friday, I don't know that I'm going to do a whole bunch of battle content because I definitely want to get into my free company house and fix a few things with my free company house. Because I've been meaning to make some adjustments to that ever since they increased the item limits for each of the different house sizes. And particularly with my large free company house, I have 2 extra item slots now. So I really want to make sure I get into there and make some more adjustments to how things are decorated. I do not foresee me spending the entire time decorating because I will probably get rather ticked off after a while because glitching in Final Fantasy XIV can be irritating. So may have to switch to may start with some house decorating and then when I hit that point of getting too pissed off with glitching and everything, then switch to some battle content. But I want to thank you all so much for your patience. I do deeply apologize again for my frame rate issues. That I had really hoped that the adjustments that I had done had fixed them. When I'm not live, my frame rates in Final Fantasy XIV are absolutely fantastic. They're hitting that limit of 60 frames a second that I put on it absolutely flawlessly and working absolutely great. It's just as soon as I hit that go live, it decides to plummet. So I need to figure out why exactly it's not properly allocating the resources that it needs when there are more than plenty of resources for it to have. So not 100% sure why that limitation is happening. But I will look into it, hopefully have it fixed up before next stream. I want to wish you all a happy rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you all on Friday. Have a good one, y'all.